Minister, I think there was a woodworking program in place at a prison. Do you know how long ago that stopped, or if it stopped at all? And then what about the sewing program that was initiated by former Minister Anna Richardson?
Yeah, so I believe the woodworking, what had happened also was that the workshop was destroyed after Irma. And then, of course, there were discussions about fixing that. And another issue that, unfortunately, that we've run into in this period of reconstruction towards a new facility, a lot of the funding that we have from the Netherlands, there's the concept of you can't spend €1 more than once. So for them, it's we're not going to let you spend all this money to repair a place that then we're going to be fixing in a couple of years. So those were some of the choices that had to be made as well, where it was, I know one of those was the chapel. And because the price, I think, to repair the chapel was close to $1 million. And then they said, well, we're not going to give you that money now to repair a chapel while in a few years you're going to have a new facility. So, and the sewing, I was told that one of the issues was material, being able to source material constantly. And again, that is one of the issues where government doesn't pay very well. And that then you can't order the material, or the people won't release to you. And these are the issues that we're constantly faced with when it comes to vendors not wanting to work with the government, which, again, from my private sector background, very difficult for me to understand, but I've had to learn to understand it, or learn to accept it somehow to a certain extent sitting here.
So first, a clarification question. The construction process for the new prison, you said it's supposed to start at the end of this year. What's the time frame for that construction?
So the prison will be built in 2 phases. So we're going to construct phase 1. During phase 1, we will go from the 80 spaces that we have now to 120. And then once phase 1 is complete, we will relocate the current prison population into that phase 1 of that facility. That is, if we start in Q4, we're hoping that by the beginning of 27, we would, so that's sometime Q1 2027, that we'd be able to take that facility into use.
And
then the second phase a year later. So we're looking at an entire horizon of about 3 years into 2028.
Okay. So again, I think great work. I think it's nice that you're taking a structural approach. Looking towards the future, so that I understand, this is a 3.8 million euro 4-year program. Is government contributing any matching funds? Is government making a plan that when this money expires to continue? And are there legislative changes that you're going to need to make to sort of dovetail with the efforts? For example, our labor, we talk about how do you reintegrate these people back into our communities. But I know from the business sector, our labor laws are fairly rigid. And, if you looked at it, let's say more as an internship type program, that you weren't so tied to somebody, you might be more willing to give them a chance. So is there perhaps a different type of employment agreement for people that are coming out? Are those types of things, the softer parts of this whole program is got to rest on government's shoulders? So matching funds, long-term plan, and legislative changes to dovetail with this effort.
Yes, to all of those. So the first part of that 3.8 million, about 800 and something thousand has been contributed by the country of St. Martin, which I did this year. So we've paid actually for that portion from here. And then as of next year, the Dutch government will be contributing into that. So that makes up that 3.8 million. Basically, the cost of them starting earlier, we bore. And the way that we did that was over the years, and actually part of this 3.8 million was also over years, the Netherlands has been giving subsidies to us for us to use for the prison. And there was a lot of underuse of those funds, which meant that at some point that a reallocation took place. And last year when I came in, there was a subsidy that we still had that was expiring at the end of last year. And I came in and I asked, can I please get an extension on this? And it was about 850,000 euros that we still had that was not spent for a number of years. And of that, I had plans on what I wanted to do with that money during this year in terms of rehabilitation programs, mental health programs, and the like. And in that discussion with the Netherlands, it became, okay, well, let's have the UNODC commence sooner. And then you take that, will allow you to keep this subsidy and let that be your contribution towards the UNODC. So that's the way that we structured that. And as part of the money that was provided to us by the Netherlands for the prison construction, a component of that, about I think 10 million euros or something like that, was meant for soft components. So soft components were designed by UNOPS. We have 9 different soft components that have been worked on paper. Some of these are also prison industries, adequate staffing, reintegration, rehabilitation. And out of these 9 soft components, of course, now we need to start making choices in terms of how do we implement, because I would love to have all of it, but it becomes a question of the operational costs of the prison facility and what we as a country can actually carry. So in terms of, that's the role of UNODC now, to help us implement different parts of these soft components. And part of this is also in terms of that reintegration, rehabilitation. Some of the things we've been looking at is, for example, on the French side, I know that businesses, when you have inmates that you take in as staff, that the government pays a portion of that. I think we want to look at, how can we make it attractive, and looking at what legislation needs to change. One of the things that also needs to change is our prison legislation itself, the legislation that really regulates the functioning of the prison system is, as I say, it was from when Jesus was a child. It's very, very old, antiquated legislation. And if we're coming up with a new facility, I think that the legislation needs to grow with that. So we're also working, I have a technical assistance request out with the Netherlands to look if they can provide some legislative support to us, because, we're short on legislative lawyers, to be able to work on certain components that have to do with this. So those are different trajectories that we're working on through different avenues. So, I talk about one thing, but I have like 10 fishing poles out at the same time and trying to see, and eventually I have a vision for where we want to end up, and that all these little components will contribute over time to take us to the finish line. So I think that answers all of those questions.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah. Your social health insurances.
24/7 TV programming on www.stmartinmediacenter.com, SXM Daily News, PBS NewsHour, Now You Know, com programs, documentary, entertainment, sports events, Saturday children's hours, religion programs, and movies. Click on SXM TV broadcast to see your favorite programs.
Hope everybody knows who I am. My name is Cresberg Brown, and I represent the Community Council of Dutch Quarter. We started from the bottom, now we here. It is a pleasure to be here this evening, and just to give a small elucidation of what you think you're getting yourself into. Have you ever done something for maybe your kids, your mom, or your dad, and it wasn't good enough? Anybody ever had that feeling? All right. The job which you're going to undertake right now, you will have that feeling. I ain't gonna sugarcoat it. I ain't gonna lie. And I ain't gonna sell you a dream. No matter what you do, even though it's great, it's not enough. You will get cursed. They're going to tell you about you, things you didn't know. They're going to say, oh, you never call them. Although a flyer was delivered in their mailbox, or they saw it when they was driving, they feel like you need to do so. Hello, good evening, how are you doing? Listen, we have a meeting tonight. You need to call. They want it up close and personal. And if that does not happen, regardless if the meeting was super effective, to them, it wasn't no good. Welcome to the body of community work. But here's the good thing. Don't be deterred. Don't feel no way. Myself, secretary/treasurer, we go through this all the time. We get messages, we get emails, but what is our goal? Our goal is bringing social cohesion in a community that doesn't even know what that is. We want to bring back what we had before. I'll give you a good example. Back in the day, they didn't have WhatsApp, telephone, they had none of those things. But before you reach home, the neighbor already tell your mother what happened halfway across the island, that they saw you. I don't know if they used a pigeon. I don't know. But as soon as you do so, I'll tell you, don't go there. Whoa, ho, ho, ho. That type of community is what we need to bring back. And when I get the opportunity a little later, I will elucidate more. Or should I do it now? I don't know. Because we have a whole presentation. Okay. Sherry, come on up. Let's do it. Let's be a little interactive. Because it's gonna be fun. So let me introduce my role. I am currently the president of the Dutch Quarter Community Council, and this is?
Okay. My name is Sherlyn Warrington. You can call me Sherry for short, because some people find it very difficult. Yes, so I was a teacher. I had my bachelor's in special education. I just did that. You know, when your grandmother is a principal, she wants all her children to go through the education route. So that was our household. But I always loved nursing. So I'm an RN at SMMC. On the OB ward, I love children. And eventually my goal is to, well, it's in the progress to have my education in nursing, where I will teach others how to take care. You have to love my job. You have to love people to take care of people, okay? That's a little synopsis. My parents are Dominican. You can hear it in my accent, but I'm from here, okay? Yeah, you can hear a little twang here and there, okay? And from Dutch Quarter, I love my home, okay? Next slide. This is Kresberg, you know him. Yeah, he's the president. Oh, I am the treasurer / secretary / vice president / because I have a little OCD. When I say I want to get something done, you're going to get it done, okay? So you can ask him. I'm on their backs. I have tasks, I have dates, you have to accomplish it, and we have to get it done. When you join the council, it's going to be difficult. You have to be strong, and you have to have a team. Although you might have a team, that you will give somebody a task, always have behind your head, I have to do that task. You might say, Mr. Wilson, your task is to contact SZV, but at the back of your head, you have to remember, I have to contact SZV because, it sounds bad, but you have to have that, how I can say it, that drive. Because at the end, you want to see something accomplished, okay? And you have to love your community. If you don't love your community, trust me, it's not going to, it ain't going to happen. Okay, so this is Creswick, our president. He does everything I tell him to do. So yeah, next slide.
Yes, so a lot of times everybody take a look at our Facebook, they see a lot of things happening in the Dutch Quarter and they're like, oh wow, we're on top of things. Yes, we are. Bingo, I think everybody know that lovely gentleman, the cook-up, Miss Vero, Miss Christine, movie night, community center. The last thing we did was the road sign project. So we try our best to do a lot. This is the glitz and the glamour. But in order to get these things done, you need that drive and somebody who could tell you what to do, when to do it, and how to get it done. If you don't have the why, don't start. It's that simple. Why did I start? I grew up in Dutch Quarter. Ain't nobody could tell me nothing about Dutch Quarter. Neighbor string buried in Dutch Quarter. I know Dutch Quarter. I could close my eyes and I could tell you where you need to go to get whatever you need. And I have, together with a lady I take a wine on, you know what I mean? We got two lovely boys. Boys are very easily influenced. Hands down. With the stigma in Dutch Quarter, I can't lock them up. I can't keep them inside. They will eventually break out and go outside. They're cousins on bikes all day. I can't stop them. Because you make your kids, you don't make their mind. The fact of the why was for me, I want to change my environment. Because if I could change the environment, we produce better products. And I had to start somewhere. Why not the community council? Where people could see, you can see me, I am trying, I went away, yes, he went away and he studied, they good, they ain't gotta worry about nothing. No, I gave back. I gave back, I try. Because the most important thing is to try. My mother always told me, once you start, you're going to finish. So if I start, or if Sherry starts, or if Kevin starts, or Mr. Arunda starts, if somebody start the movement, one day, that vision will be accomplished. So, why? We all came together and we was like, but we ain't hearing nothing about the council no more. What should we do? What should we do? So, one of the main things that I said earlier is bringing about social cohesion in Dutch Quarter. Because a lot of people already don't understand getting along, the working together, the cooperation, the togetherness, and the unity that the community council brings within a
SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXV, yeah, your social and health insurances.
24/7 TV programming on www.stmartinmediacenter.com, SXM Daily News, PBS NewsHour, Now You Know, com programs, documentary, entertainment, sports events, Saturday children's hours, religion programs, and movies. Click on SXM TV broadcast to see your favorite programs.
So we're checking mainly for damage from insects. Some of your pests could actually be removed manually. So basically you guys will be monitoring all the time, looking for things like caterpillars, aphids, mildews, and then you guys would know what you need to actually use to combat these pests. You also will have different parts of your plan. So the first part is usually inspecting, trying to find out what is on your system, what is giving you the trouble. Okay, then you've identified the pest, and that will allow you now to identify what you're going to do, whether you're going to treat for the pest or whether you're going to allow that damage to continue. So basically with integrated pest management, you might have some crops that you say, okay, well, they're a loss, we're just going to take them out of the system, and you will have some crops that you're going to treat because you can save them, okay? But part of integrated pest management is trying to not have these problems occur again, okay? So if you know that you're always having a problem with caterpillars and your system is an open system, you might make a plan where you're actually going to cover your system with shade netting. If your issue is aphids because they're coming into your greenhouse, you might have to have a management plan where you spray to control those aphids before they get out of hand. Okay, so basically, when we start looking at taking care of our plants, we're going to come up with an integrated pest management plan suited directly for our systems. Okay, because each of you are going to have different components happening. We also have things called biological controls. So biological controls are other beneficial insects or plants that will also help you to control pests on your system. So we're going to go into this a little bit more in detail. Okay, so usually when we're looking at pest control and disease control, most of us are going to try our hardest to limit anything that is toxic, okay, because while you guys are a hydroponic system, you don't necessarily have fish and bacteria in your system like an aquaponic system. You could technically spray your system with any form of pesticide that you choose. However, we know that that is not generally healthy for a hydroponic system or any sort of farming system. So the general trend is to try to limit the use of toxic pesticides, okay? But you will have to have pest control on any sort of farming system. So just because you guys are trying to be more healthy or even trying to go down the road of being organic or sustainable, there will still be some element of pest control, okay? So integrated pest management will basically allow you to pick the best control that will give you the best yield result while still being healthy for the consumer. Okay, so the way that we would set up our pest management plan, as I said, the first step is knowledge. Okay, you have to figure out what is going on. Okay, what are the pests that are coming to your system? What might be attacking one school is not going to be attacking another one. Okay, so just because your neighbor is complaining about one pest does not mean that you're going to have the same thing. Okay, so your step one is to identify what is your problem. Okay, then your step two is to look at how you could prevent this problem from occurring. Is it a situation of where you put the system? If you have weeds and other plants around it that are adding to the problem, whether you're not cleaning your system properly. You don't have those management things in place. So step 2 is trying to evaluate how you can prevent this from happening. Step 3 is obviously observing how your treatment has worked. Okay, if you decided to cut down the weeds around your system and put down a weed mat instead, so that there's no shrubs around your system, it's nice and clean, has this helped reduce your pests? Okay, and then obviously any other interventions that you might do, whether it is adding in a biological control, another insect that may come and assist you, or whether you're going to be spraying with a chemical. Okay, and then the last part of it is obviously evaluating everything that you've done so far and kind of going right back around to step 1. Okay, so integrated pest management is basically a learning tool. Okay, how you can continuously improve every single time that you put a harvest into your system. A lot of this is going to be record keeping and making sure that you have an idea of what's happened every time you have planted, so that the next time you come back again, you're going to do better. Okay, so under this, we also have what I said before, tolerance, an acceptable level of pests, because a lot of people tend to strive for 100%. We have to have 100% of the system working. But it's highly unlikely in the real world that you're going to have a situation where there are no pests at all. Okay, so most hydroponic systems, we aim for about 80% of the plants are going to succeed and be pest-free. Okay, that is a good guideline to say that you're doing well. So basically, if you planted 100 plants, you would expect at least 80 to make it. And if you lost 20 plants to pests, that is okay. Okay, but also you may have different tolerance levels for the type of plants that you are growing. So if I am growing a whole head of lettuce to a supermarket, they will want the whole head to look good. So I'm not allowed to have much damage on that head of lettuce. Whereas if I was doing mixed leaves, if half of the lettuce had a few caterpillar bites on it, I could discard those leaves and pack the other half of the lettuce into